in part 2 of the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet situation. This will be a response to, believe it or not, Switchforce on his... Apparently, he has a problem with people who wants to refund Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So, if you don't know who this guy is, Switchforce is, well, you can tell by the name, he's a Nintendo fan. To some extent, he may be a super fan, or even higher than that, a Nintendo loyalist, because his channel is all about Nintendo stuff, but he always compliments Nintendo to the extreme, to some extent. And when he does talk about negative about them, to some extent he does it like in the bare minimum. And to some extent he even feels, for whatever reason, uncomfortable about it. So I don't think he's doing the spades on Nintendo, but that's just my opinion. I could be wrong about that, but that's what Switchforce is. Yes, he's a nice guy, and of course, unfortunately, some people do give him a hard time, and then, of course, one of his best friend. If you follow him, it is unfortunate what happened. I'm not going to get into it, but the idea about this video is my thoughts on that video, because there were a lot of flaws, in my opinion, of that video. So it wasn't really so much of his giving his thoughts, it's more of his ranting that people are getting a refund for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and it bothered him. It really bothered him that people keep criticizing the game. So it's kind of weird that the First Amendment exists for a reason, and you don't like people criticizing Pokemon Scarlet and Violet because it might be some sort of fear of narrative control on your side, and I'll explain that later there. So first, before I continue, for a lot of people say, oh my gosh, I can't believe Nintendo's allowing some people refund Nintendo games. No, apparently, credit to Nintendo Prime, RGT85, and Nate the Hate. They basically said by law, Nintendo is required to at least one eShop game to be refunded once. So if you use that, then it'll be a different story. But apparently they have to do it by law. So again, I don't know what the story behind it. But yeah, so if you're able to do a refund on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, probably because you didn't do it before, this is your first time. That's what I heard. And for me, am I going to return it? No, I'm enjoying the game. I have not encountered all this major bug, but to some extent, what Pokemon Company did and Game Freaks kind of sucked. I mean, I already talked about that. So, the biggest problem with this video that Switchforce did was the way he talked he was very irritated. I don't blame him, because I did that too myself, believe it or not. Just watch my video about Mary Skelter 2 being censored on Steam. Of course, spoiler, they compromised with Valve, and you just put in the patch and then it'll be uncensored, I guess what you call that. Basically putting back the purification mode there. So I did talk about that. If I remember, links on the description box. However, like I said in the video, I was in the same situation. I was basically angry. I was bothered. I was irking because, again, I don't like what they're doing. But the difference is, it's all about censorship. This one is about Switchforce is defending a buggy game because he thinks it's not that buggy. And like I said, there's a lot of flaw on that video, what he did. And to some extent, I hate to say it, he was very disrespectful. So, Switchforce, shame on you. I mean, are you going to watch this video? Probably not. It is what it is. That's the internet. But anyway, so he kind of gave his opinion about the refund, and it bothered him. And the reason why it bothered him is, like I said before, is the fear of narrative control. So if a lot of people starting to do refund on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Pokemon Company, Game Freaks, and even to some extent Nintendo, they're going to take a hint and said, oh boy, they don't like this game. They don't like the performance again. Well, but we can't do anything about it. I mean, granted, it's Pokemon's company. They're at fault because they rushed the game. And of course, due to merchandise relationship, this is the reason why. It sucks that they had to go here. Hopefully in the future, they'll take note. They said, okay, we can't do this anymore. Developing is getting harder for us. This is not the 3DS. This is the Switch. It's a console. So we need to go to a different approach. Let's just wait and see what happens in the future. Hopefully they kind of take a note that, okay, you can't do this anymore. You screwed up. And hopefully they'll do fix it. But again, we'll just have to wait and see that one. So Switchforce was irritated that people are refunding the game. Again, what's it to you? Oh, narrative control. And then he even said that, yes, the first 2 hours is boring. It's buggy. Yeah, to some extent, like I said, I didn't counter all the bugs. But it was a slow start. But, it's a Pokemon game. Whatever. And then the thing that kind of basically said, oh, man, you need to close your mouth for this part. And that is, oh, the game is not really that buggy. Oh, the game is not that bad. Okay. You know what you're doing, Switchforce? You're shoving your opinion to other people. Believe it or not, I get it. You want to defend the game. But when you say, oh, it's not that bad, people don't like that, believe it or not. They don't like to hear someone telling them, because in the U.S., people don't like to be told what to do. You're telling them, oh, it's not that bad. So your opinion is much better than their opinion. That doesn't make sense. So that's already a red flag there. So, you can't really say that. People have the right to their own opinion. So if they think it's buggy, then that's it. Like, why is it to you? Again, I come back to this. Fear of narrative control. That's what he was afraid. That fear. And then the biggest one here is that I consider, and I think some people might, to some extent, is very disrespectful, is the way he talked. He was angry. He wanted to make an irk sound, an irk impression. He was frustrated. He's frustrated because people might screw his enjoyment of Pokemon. Again, why is it to you? Oh, again, fear of narrative control. Am I right? You tell me. Because apparently he even said it, that the fear is that if this doesn't work, people are refunding the game and people are complaining, maybe Pokemon Company might say, well, let's go back to basic. No more open world. No more, going anywhere. We're going to have to go back to basic just like Sword and Shield again. Whatever. If they go to that approach, hey, that's their game. That's a creative. So that's their direction. I can't blame with that. Again, always be considered to the creator's creation. You don't like it? Don't buy it. Whatever. Because a lot of people even said, you know what, you have the base, just stick to that base and just learn from it. And that's probably what they're going to do. So they're probably going to keep that open world, but he has this fear of narrative control that they might go back. And he shows it. Again, it's weird that why he cares what other people think. Oh, because again, I get back to this. The fear of narrative control. That's the reason. He's feared that they might go back to basic and then maybe the next Pokemon is back to square one. Yes, that can happen. Dynasty Warrior did that. Dynasty Warrior 6, they were trying something new, but it was horrible. I admit it. I played Dynasty Warrior 6. It was crap. They went back to the drawing board. There have been some games that they went back to the drawing board. I can't even remember. I know there are some. Because they said they tried something new, it didn't work. So they take it safe. And they just said, yeah, let's just go back to basic. And if Pokemon Company did that with the next Pokemon game, probably 3 years, because that looks like that's what it is, so be it. Don't whine about it. So, yeah, so that was the biggest problem that I saw in this video. One is you're shoving your opinion to other people's throat. Not cool, man. Not cool. I know you have that fear. Not cool. Two is your anger. Yeah, it's funny, your expression, because you're probably very an expression person. Yeah, but to some extent, some people are going to have that, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, that's right. Irk! That type of thing. And some of them, probably every time they're looking at you, especially in that video, they probably are pissed off because they're annoyed of your opinion. And again, he has his right to his opinion, his expression, and whatever, because I did the same thing. But to some extent, it's just annoying. And to some extent, say, well, why do people watch him? Good question. So, yeah. For me, it is an interesting situation that he did that. Because like I said, I can relate to that situation. But, he's just putting it out there. Nobody has to watch his video or anything. And like I said, he's not a bad guy. He's not an a-hole. But the problem with some people is it's just, well, because he has a bigger voice, people listen to him. And they just don't like his narrative. Again, it's the internet. That's what it is there. So, Yeah, unfortunately, there's Switchforce. That video that you did there, you basically worried that the refund might affect the game's future. You can't do anything about it. Business 101. You can't please everyone. So if you're fear because they might change it and affect your enjoyment of Pokemon, well, you better give your reason to Pokemon Company why they shouldn't do it. But again, people are angry because the game is buggy. The game has poor performance. And you say it's not that bad for a $60 game. Really? You're going to do that? Wow. I mean, that sounds like a Nintendo loyalist there, in my opinion. But I could be wrong. Who knows there? So, yeah, don't take it personal, Switchforce, but you got to ease up with this Nintendo. I know you're a Super Nintendo fan, but wow, dude. Wow, dude. I can't wait the day that finally RGT85 and Switchforce going to be in a YouTube stream, you know it. But there is supposed to be a plan in the future. They're just finding the time to do it. But yes, but you know what it is. It is what it is. So it'll be entertaining, maybe. Anyway, that's my thoughts and response to Switchforce on his worried about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's refund could affect his enjoyment of the game in the future. Business 101, can't please everyone. And Pokemon Company screwed up. Everybody knows that. Just saying there. With that, I'll see you guys later.